welcome in TikTok. I'm so glad to have you all here. Welcome to Soul Sisters Supernatural. We've been trying to get an interview going with these ladies for quite a long time. I met them, I think it was 2024 in the Bijou Theater at the conference, the Demonology Conference, Defeating the Demonic. And we were having lunch, and I the energy that you guys were bringing, I was just like, I have to talk to these women. I have to see what they're all about. And so you guys, I introduced myself to you, and you told me you were paranormal investigators. So when I first met you, you were 3 of you, and now there are 2. Is that correct? Okay. Yes. So now tell me about... First of all, tell me how you met and how you got started doing this, like from the beginning. Whatever it is you're interested in sharing. And then also, feel free to mention, how people can contact you and things, and we'll get into like some more goodies. But for now, tell me how you guys met and how you got started.
We met when she was born. She's my sister.
Oh, so you guys are really, truly sisters. Okay. All right, cool. Excellent. I mean, you say Soul Sisters Supernatural, so I thought, well, maybe you guys were sisters by, like another mother, and you're connected through, the spirit. But that's wonderful. It's sisters. So is there a story behind that? Like, did you guys have paranormal activity in your home growing up?
We did.
You did?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate that. Please let me know if you have any questions. Put them in the chat for the ladies. So they actually do paranormal investigating. They go all over the world investigating, and they do investigate in the United States. So anybody's interested and has more wants more information, don't be afraid to ask. Put your questions in the chat. Okay, so let's get back to it. So tell me what happened when you were kids. What were you experiencing?
So our house was basically built. So everybody's pretty familiar with the poltergeist story, right? Where the house was built on a graveyard. So our original house was actually built on a graveyard. They moved the stones, but they didn't move the bodies.
Oh my God.
Okay. Michelle and I had dealt with a lot of paranormal activity since we were young. My first real experience was actually seeing a perfume bottle being lifted off of the dresser and being thrown across and hitting the wall. And
wow.
I got in trouble for it. Of course I did.
You did. And it was a full bottle of perfume.
It was a full bottle of pure perfume.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And, it smashed, and I got in trouble, and I said, no, it was the ghost. It was the ghost. My parents didn't want to believe. They still don't. And, so they thought I did it, but I never did. And so that was my first experience.
Wow. So having the home built on a graveyard, I know, is a huge consideration for any kind of activity, and it's not really provoked activity. It just happens, right? I just watched this home this decorating channel where it was the scariest house in the United States, and the house that won to be redecorated was a house that was a gatekeeper house for the graveyard, and the house was highly haunted. So I would imagine that, like, if you were built on top of a graveyard, and I think that's more common than we realize. I don't think that most... Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. At the end, we lived in a court, and at the end they said they moved them. There were headstones. Obviously, we don't know, but either way,
yeah,
where all our houses were built were where people were buried.
So were you on a farm? Were you...
It was an old orchard.
Okay, old orchard. So at some point there was probably a farmhouse somewhere which commonly, especially in, our states that we live in, like in Connecticut and all these bigger states, more remote states at one time, farmland, that there was always a family graveyard.
Yes, yeah.
Always. There's always, you see a big house. I have a friend who has a house and there's a headstone like at the edge of her backyard. And when she bought the house, she didn't spot it. And it's an unmarked grave. And I thought, well, there's got to be more here. And she captured some paranormal phenomenon on her Ring camera. So that was a little bit interesting. So did this go on for a long time with you did you find as children wasn't it affecting you and your parents, or was it just you?
Just us. Our parents didn't really believe, and they weren't home a lot. So we pretty much experienced it all. Different things. I had doors slamming in my face and my name being called, things being thrown. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
my sisters
serious.
were afraid to stay in the house when they were little.
That's
when we'd all
serious
go off to
stuff.
school.
So how many are there of you? Is it just the two of you, or you have more sisters?
We have one more sister.
One more. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that terrified you as young children. Like, how old were you when that first happened?
I was around 9 or 10.
Okay. Quite young.
Kim would have been really young. So.
I was young. I was only about 1 years old when I first.
Oh my,
So this was the house I grew up in.
Wow.
For, 10 years, Michelle? I think we were in there for 10 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah, before we moved.
So
she had a lot more experiences than I did, but I did see a lot.
Okay. Did you find that after you had that encounter that with the paranormal, that it continued in your lives? Were you seeing that again in the next place you lived? You did.
Yes.
Very interesting. Interesting.
Every place I went, it's funny because every place I went, I felt like something was following me, and not in a bad way.
Yep.
Honestly, like Grace, it wasn't a bad thing that was following me. I felt like there was a person that was more so interested in me, or I don't know, maybe protecting me.
Oh.
And she was following me from that house onward. So every house I went on to, which we did move a lot as kids, but then we moved quite a few more times as I got older. And I would even say to my sister, I'm like, Michelle, do you feel her here? And she was like, no, she's not here yet. I was like, God, it feels empty. Like, it feels so weird. And then maybe 2 days or 3 days later, I'd hear footsteps. And I was like, oh, she's back. And then Michelle would come and visit, and she's like, yep. She's here. I was like, awesome, because I felt better when she was around me.
That's amazing. I mean, and I actually enjoyed that so much. Like, the fact that you had like this protective spirit that, was around you, because I think that people talk about it and want to believe that that's a reality, but, you've had actual physical, paranormal experience or phenomenon that has taken place that led you to believe that there was an actual spirit. It's almost like evidence in a way. So at what point did you decide to start collecting information, and, how did this start to become formulated into, or became manifested into being investigators? When did that start to happen? About what age were you?
With me, I was a teenager. I ended up becoming friends with a group of people, and we were all interested in that. And we had all experienced things in our own homes. And we started urban exploring, which back in the day you could do. Now everything has a fence and a no trespassing sign. But
right.
Back then we did go into different places, and we would record and get EVPs. And sadly, I played with the Ouija board when I was young, and I don't necessarily always think those are bad, but if you don't know what you're doing, which I didn't, we were young, and contacted something. That's why the demonology thing was really interesting to me, because we did contact something that does follow me around and comes through occasionally, and I won't say the name, but I've kept it at bay. I feel like I'm protected. And I
Yeah.
don't mess around with that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, so
Now
we're
did
bigger.
did you feel now I know that I was extremely impressed with Jason's book. Did you guys read Jason's
Yes.
Jason
book?
Love
Claus,
Jason.
Yeah, Jason
yeah.
McLeod.
Yeah, that's why we were actually at the demonology conference, because of him.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's I met Jason through Bishop Long. I don't know if you know Bishop Long. He was at the first paranormal conference with Jason in 2023, and that's when I met Jason. And I was like, "You need some women on your panel," and we just started to talk and become friends. And but after reading that book and seeing the kind of trouble you can get into, because as a kid, I actually played the Ouija board with my mother and my sisters.
Wow. You guys are so bad.
Yeah, we were nervy. We were so nervy. And back in the 70s, it was a thing. People like played that as a game. And my mother brought it home and I thought, well, what in good God is this? And we actually, the planchette was moving around and it was spelling a name. And I still remember the name. And I also won't say it.
Yeah.
And but that put me on the pathway of the whole paranormal thing. And I actually did get into trouble later on in my life because I had forgotten about all that and I wasn't thinking. And but I feel like, do you feel like it's like in the DNA or something? Because for me, I was doing seances as a kid and I didn't really know. I was thinking, how do I know how to do a seance at 10 years old? I had my the whole gang of kids in my mom's basement doing a seance and calling on, my grandmother who is passed. And, we had phenomenon in the basement. I think that house is probably haunted now. But we were all terrified and we all ran up the stairs when
It's haunted now because of you.
I would think so. And I just my mom would drop us off at the library and she'd say, go read what you want to read, and I would say, okay, I'm going to I would go to the ESP section. So I felt like it was like already installed in my makeup who I was as a person. Like I was born under certain stars. I'm a Scorpio. I tend to like lean into the mystical, things that are unusual. But I never experienced paranormal phenomenon as a kid. I didn't come to that till much, much later in my life, when I was living in a haunted house. And that's when I realized that, this was serious and I didn't have anyone to help me. So I had to figure it out on my own. So now how old were you ladies when you decided to become paranormal investigators and you like kind of deemed or coined that word for yourself? How'd that evolve? I'm just curious. I think everybody in the chat is so curious about it too.
5 years ago.
5. Okay.
I think we've always been interested in it. And like I was one of the first people to rent out the Lizzie Borden house before it was owned by another corporation and all that stuff. I was able to rent out the entire house.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys are brave.
I had 4 couples with us that rented it with me. We had full reign of the entire house. So this was before what they do now.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It was unbelievable.
People in the chat are saying that's awesome. They're like, Gail's saying that's awesome. And, I have people like asking questions and saying, why do you do this? Somebody asked. And, I think the point is probably clear that you do it because you had the experiences as children.
We're not scared of it, Grace. Like, it's like some people are really afraid of this type of thing, whereas I think Michelle and I more so lean into it, and we're not afraid. It's more like exciting and trying to figure out what it is that happens to us when we die, right? So what is beyond the great beyond?
I love that, and that's such a big question.
Questions that we're so trying to figure out. And granted, not saying we're going to figure it out in this lifetime, but we're trying to unlock some mysteries, and I feel like Michelle and I actually have doing some of the investigations that we've done.
Yeah, I would imagine that. I feel like it's like a burning question for most people who are spiritually inclined. And did you experience anything while you were in Ireland? Were you investigating or were you
Oh.
just on vacation?
No, this was
No, it was.
Michelle, you can take it. The mound was the biggest one for me.
The mounds, yeah.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, we went to Fort Knox, it's called. Not a lot of people go there or know about it. It's actually out in a field. And our guide was able to get a key to let us in. And we did a session in there. And I mean, there were spirits coming through, there were shadows. I got weird photos, and so did someone else with these weird colors. We were connecting with things that were ancient.
wow.
It was like a spiritual experience. It was amazing.
Wow. Now, what
Wow.
area is that in Ireland?
Oh,
Do you
where was
remember?
that? They were driving us around, and that was a big
I
day.
don't know.
I know Ireland is not that big, but it is kind of vast
But it
when you
is.
think about
When
it.
you do these things.
It's like, I kind of remember some of the areas in Ireland, like County Cork, and
We went to
I know
we were in
County
Dublin.
Cork,
And my kids were all about the whole haunted thing, but I think if they really experienced something haunted, they would have flipped out. But they were kids, and
about-
and they're my kids, which is so funny, Gail's.
So the funny thing about the Fort Knox that we actually went to was I'm not an empath, and I don't pretend to be, nor do I want to be. Michelle is. I can hear spirits, I can sense them, but I've never ever had an experience like I did in the tomb where we were in there and I just started bawling my eyes out and crying.
Wow.
I couldn't stop it. I've
Wow.
never had that type of experience before. And it was a little girl who was saying she was in the dark. I'm so afraid I'm in the dark. And what I got from that was that this place, they don't know exactly what happened to them because it was kind of back from the Vikings time. But I thought they actually put about 26 to 50 people in this little tomb and they set them on fire.
Whoa.
And it was quite a bit of time that they were actually sitting in there too, because that's where they had inscribed on the stones around them. But it was such a crazy feeling I've never had in my entire life. I've been doing this for a long time and it still almost brings tears to my eyes. It was insane. And Michelle actually had someone else who was attached to her, but I had a little girl who was talking to me, and that was
very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So you actually, even though you didn't think you had mediumship abilities, you do. I feel like it opened you up to your mediumship abilities, even though you didn't think they were there. But I think if you get into the right situation or the right case, it's a natural occurrence. And It sounds like that's what happened to you. I do agree with what you said. And Gail Marie's saying that's so interesting. And Mr. Scar E is saying Michelle was protected, which I agree with that. I think for me personally, in my experiences with the paranormal stuff, is that I have been very, very protected as well. I'm fortunate because I could have gotten into deep, deep trouble. I was messing with some really heavy stuff. And I was smart enough to know when to quit. And I had to turn everything around, but I had to walk away from it. So when did you form your super soul, your business like aspect of this? At what point did you say, we're going to go out in the world and help people? And when you do, how does that, and just be prepared, we might end, and we're going to end in 5 minutes. So we got a few minutes. When did you get to the point where you wanted to make it official and say, hey, we're going out into the world and we're telling the world that this is what we're doing, and get more serious about it? And then what was your first case like? Do people come to you, or do you how do you think that works? Like, what's your take on that? I know there's a lot of questions in one.
You can see Michelle.
Just take it one at a time, or whatever you remember is fine.
I think it was 2021. Kim and I decided to go on an investigation in Pennsylvania last minute. So we drove down there and joined a group led by Brian Kano, who's been on like Paranormal Camera, Haunted Collector. He's one of our friends. He's our mentor. And we had a great time. We met some people and we joined his apprenticeship that night. And that's when we really started to get into it. We were taking like paranormal classes, like parapsychology.
Yeah.
We went in more investigations.
Mm-hmm.
We started as a group of 4, but as with anything, sometimes things don't work out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll do this together. And then we lost one of them, and now another one is going our separate way, but we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Because we are true soul sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that you're both into the same, subject matter and doing this seriously together as a, as a business, marked as a business, is really cool. That, you don't, I mean, I always do that with my sisters. I'm like, I'm like, hey, you want to do this with me? And they're like, you're out of your mind. Not gonna happen. Especially anything around the paranormal. But my nephew just lost a necklace in he's in Portugal. I forget where they said that he was. He's away somewhere and they're on a vacation and he lost a necklace. And my sister called me and said, "Do you have any idea that where this necklace might have wound up?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess you relate to this, even though you just say you don't." And don't scare me, Grace.
Right, they believe, even though they say they don't.
Don't scare me. But I'm like you. I'm not afraid of this because I've educated myself. And I think that's a really big aspect in this as well. And like people in the chat too. Do you guys agree in the chat? Do you feel like, being educated helps with fear? And I'm just curious what they say. What was your first paranormal job? Like, have you gotten out there and like done an actual job for someone? And what was that like? What did that look like for you guys?
We did one in Pennsylvania for this woman that had asked us to come in because she was having a bunch of negative things happening in the house. And we came in and there was this one area that just felt like a portal. Like I really felt like she had opened something up. Come to find out, she was doing readings and other things, but not doing it the right way. And she knew what she was doing, but she lied to us.
Oh.
Yeah. So at the end of it, we were telling her, like what to do and what we had found. And while we're talking to her, I saw a full body apparition, flannel, jeans, boots, guy, go walking down through her bedroom and into a wall. And wow. I turned around and I said, I think I just saw somebody. And when I described him, it ended up he was the guy that used to live there that died before they had bought the house. It used to be a jewelry business.
Did she see him too, or was it just you? Did she feel like the energies of him around, or was it just...
She didn't say, because we were just telling her what we had found. Mm-hmm. But I think we also, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, the kitchen that was right behind us, we sensed a woman in there, and we explained the whole thing, and she knew exactly who we were talking about. But at the end of it...
There was a woman that was in the kitchen the entire time.
Wow.
And she would do the same thing she did as she was alive. So we saw her like filling a tea kettle, going and putting it on the oven, right? So it was like, we're just watching this whole thing happen. And we're like, do you guys realize that you have spirits here, like that are actually just, they don't even realize they're dead, obviously. So they're going through a normal...
Recent experience with the woman who was in the kitchen making tea, and you were visually witnessing this happening, and you were seeing the apparition in the hallway as well, Michelle. Yeah. So now, were you at this investigation because they wanted you to help them rid the house of the spirits, or were you there just to investigate and do documentary, documenting the activity?
Just more documenting. we don't clear spirits. I don't feel like I should do that. I think that, like we were talking on the trip, that maybe sometimes they're in a waiting room. Maybe there's a reason for whatever we're seeing. So I don't really like to mess with that because I don't know.
I know. It's like, how do you clear them anyway? You know, what would be I mean, I have friends who are exorcists that claim they can, you know, by the power of Jesus Christ and, you know, remove dark entities such as demonic energies. But I don't know if you have a home with, you know, people who've lived there who remain, if it's possible to clear it. You know, I just don't know if they've got to be ready, I think.
And where are we clearing them to? Right?
Exactly.
So I feel like every spirit has its own, I don't know, its own thing. So every soul knows where they want to go. And if they're not ready, then they're not ready. It's not for us to actually make that decision for them. It's for them to make that decision and for them to move on. So Michelle and I are very much in the thought that that's not our place to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're not priests, so we're not going to take that claim. And I don't want to put somebody somewhere that they don't want to go yet.
Yeah. And I wonder, you know, in my other interviews with priests who do exorcism is different from paranormal investigation. And exorcism is ultimately designed to, you know, clear someone who's like possessed by a spirit entity, you know, dark entity. Paranormal investigation is a whole different ballgame. So now let me ask you this. How do you feel about what's going on with, like, you know, this recent purchase of Ed and Lorraine's property and what's going on in the paranormal world and of investigating? You know, I for one have my own opinion, but I'm curious to see what you all think about it. What you ladies think.
We have kind of mixed emotions. So the Conjuring house is completely different from Ed and Lorraine's house. You know, people get that confused because people are saying, oh, they're buying the Conjuring house. No, they didn't buy the Conjuring house. The Conjuring house is a whole different entity. Michelle and I have been there. It's only 20 minutes from my actual house in Rhode Island. So we've been to the Conjuring house probably 4 times. That's the one that was going up for foreclosure. Matt Rife? I think Matt Rife was the one who bought the Ed and Lorraine's house with the haunted objects. You know, it's hard for me to really say because as long as he's going to do the best by it that he can, then I'm okay with it. We're friends with Ziggity. We call him Ziggity, but John Zappis. And he's one of the nephews of Ed and Lorraine. So he said that they took their items traveling before. It's happened in the past. So I'm on board with somebody else buying the house and just doing what they should do by it with the best intentions. So it's hard for us because I think the Conjuring house, once it got bought by Janet Nunez, was not under the best intentions. And that's why the things happened they did. But with Jason Hawes, like, trying to actually raise all this money to do this, I think that's actually good intentions. Jason is great. He's one of the original ghost hunters, and I do believe, and I stand by him 100%. So he's also Rhode Island, just like we are, so we stand by Rhode Island natives.
Right. And funny, you Michelle, I noticed you have an accent, and I always found that Rhode Island accent sounds a lot like a New York accent.
Correct.
So I'm from New York originally. So I hear it and I'm like, are you from New York? And it's like, no, I'm from Rhode Island.
Everybody says that to me.
Well, you hear it, and every now and again it comes out. Like, you can hear it in one little pronunciation or something, and that's what happens to me. This is like comes out. It's just because you're being yourself and you feel comfortable. Oh, TikTok wants me to. Now, Michelle, what's your take on it too? What's your take on the purchasing and, like, to me, I'm going to tell you what I think after, but you tell me what you think about it.
I mean, as far as them buying the house, somebody was going to. I don't think I'm not really understanding if they have rights to that collection or if it's just 5 years that they're going to be able to have people see it, tour it, whatever. It's tough because a lot of these places, they charge a lot of money, which I don't think is fair. I mean, I'm all about, you got to make a living. I get it. That I understand. You got to keep the house up, pay the bills.
Yeah.
But they make it so expensive and they know people are going to pay for it, which kind of stinks because there are people that are left out because of that. I just hope that with the haunted objects, they are careful because we've come in contact with Annabelle in particular. Luckily, she was in the case, and I have to honestly tell you, I never need to see her again, ever.
Yeah.
There is something attached to that doll. And I mean, we've been to John Zaffis's house. We've seen some of the stuff, and everything that we felt, we said back to him, and it was all on point. So I do believe that the objects get attached to, with whether from a previous owner or something worse. But I just hope they're respectful. That's all. I don't like things turning into a circus because I am an empath and I do hear spirits a lot and I feel them like physically, emotionally. I just, even when we go into anywhere, we're very respectful because I feel like they were human at one point. Maybe they're not human. They could be some other entity that we just aren't aware of. But everything deserves our respect.
Mostly for, when I watch some of these videos of these kids going down there, and I find, it's to the actual museum, Dead and Lorraine Warren Museum, with their cameras and they're sensationalizing the process, and I find that to be very scary personally, and I fear for them because you just don't want to see an attachment linked to them because it's serious. It's serious. It's like what you do, and first of all, what you do is super important, because you're collecting information, you're collecting data, doing the research, like being a paranormal investigator. It's a science. People think that I think people forget this, that there is science behind it, and it's not just all woo-woo, and that you're going out there all willy-nilly, just kind of checking in with, to see if you can get like something to come or to happen or invite. So how do you feel about when you go to an investigation? Like what would be your advice for people who are experiencing phenomenon in their houses? Should they communicate with the entities or should they leave them alone? Like what's your thoughts on something like that? Or would it depend on the situation at hand?
I think it depends on the situation at hand, but I mean,
yeah,
like my house is haunted. It is. And, but I'll tell them to just quiet down. I'm going to bed, guys. Time to quiet down. No more talking to me. I'll be up tomorrow morning. And they do respect that because I respect them too. So it's a respectful thing that we do for each other.
Yeah.
But it depends on your situation, I think, too, because most of the time, maybe it's not that type of situation where they just will listen to you. But as like you were kind of asking, like Michelle and I go into an investigation and we don't interrogate. We never interrogate.
Good.
We actually go in, we'll put on the recorder, and we just talk amongst ourselves about our life, about what's going on. We'll have laughs. We'll talk about our boyfriends, our husbands, right? And then they actually are recorded on a recorder. And we've actually made spaces lighter when it was a really dark spot just by doing that type of thing because they felt more comfortable with us.
That's such a great kind of point that you're bringing, because I don't think that I see personally a lot of investigators talk about, and changing the energy, bringing in better attention, intention, bringing in a positive intention. And that's what I saw in you ladies when I met you the first time. I was like, wow, their energy is super, high energy, really light, and Well, it didn't hurt that we were in a restaurant, but we were actually, enjoying, like, I was like, the energy on these women are unbelievable. I got to meet them. And I tend to be a networker anyway. I want to talk to people and get to know them, but I was attracted to the energy. So I think that that's the coolest thing I've ever heard in regards to an investigation. So Michelle, what do you think about, that idea? What's your thoughts on
Oh,
it?
what she said, oh, I'm
Yeah.
totally on board. I mean, we've definitely gone into places. We went into one, and this room that Kim was supposed to stay in for the night that she changed her mind. We went in, and it was a very dark room. We were told people would leave in the middle of the night
Oh,
because the
wow.
spirit was either that scary or that angry. And so a bunch of us went in and we started chatting and laughing and making jokes. And when we played the recorder back, you could actually hear the woman humming. And the room actually got lighter. And when our mentor walked in, he stopped and he looked at us. He said, "What did you do? This room doesn't feel the same anymore."
Wow.
And the person that slept in there that night said they had the best night's sleep they've ever had.
Wow. So
So,
there's something to that. It's almost like a new, formula of investigation, like a new approach.
Well, it's inclusive. It's a person, right? So they
Yeah.
were people. We're people. There's souls. Their energy. We are still energy. So just making them part of our lives again, making them feel seen. It's huge. I mean, how many times does somebody want to be seen? Just a person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're doing that for someone after they've passed, and not just interrogating them. So I think it makes a huge difference to them.
Yeah. And paranormal, the paranormal word is like a buzzword now. And it's become sensationalized, and it's gotten like so popularized, especially across the board with younger people who like sit in graveyards, play Ouija boards. What are some of your recommendations around for younger folks who are getting into this type of thing or want to make communication with spirits? I think you just kind of summed it up a little bit with that last explanation of how to approach. But what would be some of the advice for some people who are want to be investigators and how they should go about it?
my biggest thing is, and I know none of them are going to want to hear this, and our friend John Zaffis just went through something like this. Talk to your elders, and I hate to say that we are too at this point.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get into it, talk to a group or contact someone that knows what they're doing, that have been doing this for years, because they don't understand the danger they could actually put themselves in.
It's very true.
It's not a game. It really isn't a game. I mean, it's fun for us to do. It's tedious going over the evidence, and it takes us forever to do it because we have day jobs. But we do it because we're curious.
Yeah.
More so, I want to know why I see things in my house, outside my house. Why I hear things that get validated. So even though I think I'm crazy, I guess I'm not. Same with my sister. I mean, we've experienced way too much to think that there's nothing. But I know there's also dark forces out there because I've come in contact with them, and it's a serious thing.
Yeah.
But not everything is a demon. So like, Grace, you know this, right? So going to demonology, and this is why we try to expand our knowledge about everything too. So not only are Michelle and I like paranormal investigators, but we've been through parapsychology. We're now on a ufology track. We're trying to learn as much as we possibly can about everything that we can, right?
Yeah.
So we're not just going into it blind. And that's the thing, is that I think that people are just like, oh, let me see if I can find ghosts. Well, it's like, I even hate the term ghost hunter, because we're not hunting ghosts. We're investigating, right? So ghost investigations. We're trying to figure out what there is beyond this. And this would probably go for a lot longer call if we really went into my thoughts about what I've captured and the pictures that I've captured, what I think that the possibility is, but we're just trying to figure it out. And I think that people go in and they just think it's a joke, and it's not fair to the other spirits that are involved with that.
Yeah, 100%. I would imagine that spirit entities probably, keep that similar response to emotional response factor that we have as, living. We get insulted if somebody approaches us in a way or a kind of way. I know that I would, be like, huh? And I'm sure they feel the same way because they don't know that they're gone in the spirit realm. And I do.
We always say that every time we go into a place, we're like, so if we keep on asking, when did you die? Like, if somebody keeps on asking,
I'm dead? What?
And they're like, I'm dead? What? But that's the same question 7 days in a row. Wouldn't you be like, you know what? F you. Like, I'm good with this. I'm going to go peace out now.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not showing up for you. No way.
I can't give you any attention. So that's like,
I'll be staying in this corner while you go freaking around. I actually had a friend of mine tell me she had a haunted house in near Conn College. I forget the name of that area. Near Conn College, Quaker Hill. And they had a paranormal investigating team come in to kind of check the place. And she could see the spirits. She could feel them and see them. And she said the paranormal investigator was on the stairwell talking to her about like how this is going. And the spirit was standing there right next to her, kind of like taunting her. And, she couldn't like, and I like, whatever, maybe she wasn't able to see it visually or whatever. But I just thought it was actually quite comical. But I would agree with you because, when you go somewhere and you're not treated well, you are not going there again. And I would imagine that they can cloak themselves, say, no.
I'm not going to keep getting bullied every day.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
and I was thinking if they are trapped into like, I hate to think that they're trapped. I hate to think there's a spirit entity that just hasn't moved on and is trapped. And what happens to them? Do they just stay there in loop, through? I know that there's residual energy too, like that gets, I know a friend of mine captured some information on a ring camera, where a spirit walked through her backyard. This is the woman who has the graveyard, the gravestone in her backyard. And it was like residual energy. I think that's different from a spirit, like an entity.
It's like a memory.
Intelligent.
Yeah.
The residuals more just like, like they say stone tape. Like it's just something that's such energy that it's just been recorded and people notice it over and over.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we think there's time slips. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be.
Well, it's more like a slime, right? So like we have an energy, so you leave like your energy slime. Everything you do. So every morning I get up, I put on the tea kettle, I make my little coffee. I do this same routine no matter if I'm in my condo or my house. So the funny thing is, like, I'll probably be residual at some point.
Yeah.
I do the same thing every morning.
That's so interesting to think of it like that, and kind of look at it.
Slime. It's your energy slime.
Yeah.
You're not an intelligent ghost. Whereas we've interacted with intelligent spirits. Those are the ones that we get the EVPs, the different things. But a residual is just literally a slime. It's like something that has just been left from their energy every single day. Yeah,
so it's almost like a tail of their, the field. That's, that's how I would maybe look at it. So how do your loved ones and better halves feel about, or people around you? How do they feel about what you do? What's the initial reaction?
You can go first, Michelle.
I mean, some are like, wow, that's really cool. Some look at us like, okay. And then we know to like change the subject. My boyfriend's very much into it, so that's fine. Our other sister, she's not in it like we are, but she is interested in it, so she's on board. my dad is very religious, which is great. You know, like he's a happy guy. He's always been worried that we're worshiping the devil or doing all this evil stuff, and we keep trying to explain to him that we're doing the complete opposite, but better. Our mom kind of goes with him, but she's also really interested in it, so she is probably listening to this on something.
Hi, Mom.
Probably online somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not embarrassed about it. I mean, I've got gifts. It took me a while to embrace them, but it is what it is. I just don't talk to them about it.
I mean, you know, when I got hired at my recent job, I've been there like 2 years. I told my supervisors that I do a paranormal show and that I, you know, started to like get more involved in this work. And I of course, didn't mention demonology, but I did, you know, make sure she was aware that this was a part of my life. And, you know, they didn't care. They didn't care. As long as I'm not hurting anybody or doing anything to make them feel uncomfortable, it's fine, you know. But it's funny that now, do you feel as investigators, or even just as the type of human beings that you are, that you attract people who have more experiences like this in their lives? Yeah.
I think we do.
Ooh, that's a good question, Grace. Honestly, yeah. I feel like people are really drawn to us, and in a weird supernatural way. I don't know how else to put it, but
yeah. And I love supernatural because, you know, you don't hear it very often. I mean, there was a program years ago, I think, and I can't remember who was the
called Supernatural.
Yeah, Supernatural.
I love them.
Yeah.
Who
was it? It was a gentleman, right, or something, like an older man doing a I forget.
It might be a different show you're thinking of, but
it was an interview show, they did investigate, you know, odd occurrences and things. So it was an interview show, and but almost like a documentary. Okay. But you know, this kind of stuff's been kind of on our radar for centuries. You know what I mean? It isn't something like you talk about the Fox sisters who were doing the seances, who started spiritualism, and, you know, it predates, you know, goes so much further back than we even know. And I think that the biggest danger for us as, you know, people who are serious about the work is not to play games, you know. And it, like you said earlier, it isn't a joke. It's serious work, and you can bring around, or they're taunting spirits in their home, or pulling out Ouija boards and trying to, you know, communicate with them. How would you as investigators advise them would you say to them it's best not to? Do you ever give them instruction, or do you just collect the data and like remove yourselves from the home? Like,
no, we try our best to like inform them. I mean, when we found the portal, she just wasn't open and honest about it, and we said, you're pulling things in and you're not closing this area down. It was so weird, Grace. Like literally all of our equipment went off as soon as we walked over this one threshold. And Michelle felt it. She was like, there's a portal here. There's something weird going on. And then she got the voice, and the name was said of the thing that came through her Ouija board a long time ago, that one demon. And she was like, look, I'm not going to do this. We told her that she was playing with some really crazy stuff, and she wasn't upfront about it with us. And she was like, yeah, you know, it gets the customers in.
Whoa.
Like, really? So she opened up a portal, and she was playing with tarot cards, and she's doing some dangerous stuff there. And we told her and we advised her how to shut it down. She didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
You know, so you can actually, you can help as much as you can. But the thing about Ouija boards and all the portals and all that stuff is that it can let in anybody or anything without our knowledge. And I do not subscribe to the fact that everything's a demon. I don't. Michelle and I have done a ton of investigations, and honestly, I don't think I've run into one demon. Have I run into bad spirits. Yeah, well, there's bad people too, right? So there's negative people out there, but they're not demons. They're just negative.
Yeah.
They're negative Nellies. And there's negative spirits too. It carries on to their spirit realm. But it doesn't mean everybody's a demon. Everything's a demon. So
yeah, exactly.
Situation.
I think it's the hype. Yeah, I feel like it's the hype around it. And that
it gets the TV, viewers and stuff, and it's like,
I agree.
I
mean, when we were at the demonology conference, I remember Archbishop Enright was talking about how we asked him, where have your exorcisms been? And he said they were outside of the country. They were in remote locations that were not in the United States. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting piece of information, because I guess ultimately it's just getting the word out of not playing games with spirits, not taunting, playing games with them, inviting, like you said, the portal opening, because it's, now people doing portal opening on TikTok, which is just so dangerous.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, there was a group I was involved with. They were posing as UFO people, and they were opening up portals and on live, and they were literally using a radio to bring frequencies, like they were using it to conjure. And we were warning them, and like there was a group of us, maybe 5 or 6 people. Yeah, it was off the chain. And I had to pull out of there. I felt myself being drawn in too. And I had to pull out of the situation, and I did. And they're still going at it now. And now they're using ChatGPT, which is even more interesting. And I wanted to ask you, before I get the warning, the 5-minute warning, which we're almost there. How do you ladies feel about ChatGPT? Do you think that can be another modality to connect to spirit? Or do you think it's just a bot, just, mechanical, that doesn't really have a connection to the energies?
I tend to go with that. I have not embraced that yet. Because I don't feel like I can trust it. But
yeah,
because even some of the things that we use as apps on our phones, we have to make sure we're on airplane mode, because I feel like anything could see your location and come up with something accordingly. And I don't trust it yet enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Kimberly, how do you feel about that same way?
I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Airplane mode most of the time.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT sometimes for work, my regular job.
It's an awesome tool. I just feel like
an email type of thing. Like I'll be like, refine this email.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on it, honestly. I still remember RoboCop and and all the warnings. So,
hi everyone
in the 80s told us not to actually believe in robots.
Hey everyone in the chat, does anybody have a question for the ladies? We're starting to wind down. So what is a good way, if someone is interested or is having a problem or would like to, connect with you guys, what's the best way to find you?
So we are on Instagram, Soul Sisters Supernatural. Also on Facebook. We're trying to develop TikTok and stuff. It's just, like we said, we've got regular jobs too.
It's a lot of work.
Just posting on everything. So yeah, really our main one is Soul Sisters Supernatural on Instagram. If they want to hit us up, DM us. I look at everything. Anybody that sends me anything. So if they have a problem or, they just want us to investigate, or they want to connect with us and do an investigation together, we'll do that too.
Okay, awesome.
We like to teach people too.
You say it again?
We like to teach people the investigation methods that we have learned along the way.
Oh, so, I love that. I want to do that with you. I want to learn.
See?
I would love to have you ladies back, and I would love to. I'm actually working out some type of with the Guard Arts Theater a series of shows, like small shows, and I want to have different guests come and do live talks. So just know that I'm gonna get in touch with you, and we can. I just hope you'd be interested in doing something like that.
Absolutely, Grace. I've got a lot of evidence. I do.
I would love to
obviously I couldn't send it to you, but pictures. I've got those pictures. I've got EVPs. We've got so much evidence that would be cool to show to people.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are talking about the Chat GPT and how it's concerning because people, just to get back to that, people are, really relying on that for spiritual food and knowledge. And like, they think they're really, people are like almost feeling like they're talking to, they're saying like it's a cross over into a realm that like the GPT, it's not GPT anymore. It becomes something more. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I don't,
I'm going to research this because I have no idea about this.
It's heavy on TikTok. I don't really think you see it other places, but so I'm just going to say we have like a minute left. We're probably going to get X'd in a second, but I want to thank you for coming on. I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. And I want to do it again. I want to do this again. Let's just do another interview. We'll do it soon, and I'll be in touch.
Absolutely.
All right. Feel better, Kimberly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great trip, and I will be in touch. And thank you so much. And everybody in the chat, hang on. I'm gonna actually link this to my Tube of You. And I will also put your contact information in that as well. So you'll be able to see this recording there. All right, guys, have a great night. You have less than a minute. They're going to X me. So I'm going to X out before they X us. Take good care.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.